That I don't know what the hell it is, but every time I go live, I start to cough. Anyway, hi, my name is Courtney, and I'm very passionate about helping women with invisible illnesses realize that you can still lead a pretty healthy and active lifestyle. It's just not going to be the one you had envisioned for yourself, but the hell else are you going to do? You can't just sit around and feel sorry for. I mean, you can, I guess. You can choose to sit around and feel sorry for yourself, but I will tell you from experience, that ain't going to get you very far. I have the last 6, 7 months have been pretty freaking crazy. Okay, the last several years have been pretty crazy, but it got really intense the last several months. And anytime I'm under a lot of stress, my body responds very dramatically. And that's actually, I don't know if y'all have been watching the past few days, but I finally started learning about Hashimoto's disease. And the reason I caught something just by chance that said that a Hashimoto's flare can last a long time. And that's what got me curious, because I kept thinking, why the hell can't I kick this? But anyway, holy smokes, I'm getting off on a tangent. I'm trying to be more extemporaneous in my speaking, because first of all, I admire the hell out of people who can do that. And second of all, what a cool skill to have. So I'm going to try to be more extemporaneous unless I'm talking about something where I really have to have notes. So I have just an outline today, but my problem with extemporaneous speaking, as y'all just saw, is it's easy for me to go way the hell off target. Although in fairness, I can do that when I have notes. Anyway, a lot of us struggle this time of year. The holidays can be hard. I love Christmas. I do. I love all the lights. It's the family, but I get really melancholy. I get super nostalgic. I start missing everybody who's passed on. And I freely admit, I guess, thank goodness I don't have kids. It's probably a really good thing. So I can get pretty moody during the holidays. It doesn't help that it's the middle of winter. So my body's acting up anyway. Even if you were to take the last several months out of the equation, my body always acts up this time of year. Fairbanks, Alaska is not a good place to be if you have a really severe intolerance to the cold. Anyway, it can be really easy to get down. And I keep reminding myself that it's a choice. We choose our thoughts. We choose what we focus on. So, that being said, it's not always that easy. So here's some things. It's a hell of a long way to get there. Here are 7 things that you need to remember when you don't feel like you're enough. This information, by the way, is from tinybuddha.com, but I'm going to be pretty extemporaneous here, so let's see how this goes. Number 1, no comparisons. Don't compare yourself to other people. First of all, you have no idea. You have no idea what the hell is really going on in their life. We know what other people choose to show us, and that's all we know. Another reason you shouldn't is because you're usually comparing like your chapter 2 on this journey to their chapter 40 or 50. Of course, you're going to come up short. Of course you are. If you really need to compare yourself to somebody, if you just can't help it, then compare yourself to someone who's less fortunate than you are. Not so that you have some reason to be all high and mighty, certainly not. But so you can remember that, things might be rough right now, but I've got a lot to be grateful for. That's why you should. You need to remember that these people that you're comparing yourself to, they're still humans, okay? Maybe they're really successful in an area or several areas that you admire. Like, man, I want that. They're still a human being. They still have their triumphs. They still have their struggles. And you know what else? Success leaves a trail. So if you really want to know, you really want what somebody has, get online. There's so much information available out there about people these days, which is kind of scary, but also kind of good, because you can figure out at least a rough blueprint of how they went from point A to point B, and you can create your own roadmap. I have a stacked washer and dryer, and apparently it's really shaking today. And my little desk closes up. It's got doors. So yeah, the doors were that was pretty funny. I'll have to remember that when I video. Number 2, Number two thing you need to remember when you're getting down on yourself, that inner voice, it lies to you. It exaggerates. You got to remember that our thoughts, they don't equal truths. Just because you think something, it doesn't, I mean, come on. We all have some just crazy crap that runs through our mind. Do you believe those thoughts? Then why do you believe the negative voice inside your head? You know, it's not always easy to do. But instead of grabbing those negative thoughts and holding on to them, just observe it and like, wow, that's kind of messed up. Observe it, let it go. Just let it go. Look, this stuff isn't really easy, and I like freely admit I fell back into super old, really bad habits, and I haven't been practicing what I used to preach pretty regularly. Obviously, I shouldn't have stopped preaching it because it kept it fresher in my mind. But we choose what we think about. We choose our thoughts. Now, that's not saying you can control everything that runs through your mind, but you can certainly control if you want to start down that rabbit hole or not. Which brings me which gives me a good segue, holy smokes, into the next point. There is so much more right with you than wrong. How do I know that? Because you made it this far. You've been successful enough to make it this far. Now, you know what? Maybe you're not happy where you're at. That's okay. A lot of people aren't. Hell, I got health problems up to my freaking eyeballs. You think I'm real happy where I'm at? But you know what? Honestly, the last several years, I've pretty much abdicated my own responsibility for my health. That's a really hard thing for me to sit here and admit because I'm always putting myself out there as, you know what, I've got health problems, but at least I try. Bullshit. I haven't been trying that hard. Why? I don't know. I've been trying to figure it out. There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot that goes into that. But I haven't. Oh shoot, I had a point and I just lost it. But you've got to remember there is so much more right with you than wrong. Don't focus on your flaws. Now, the article that I read for this was a lot kinder to your perceived flaws, but you know what? That's bullshit. We do have flaws. It's okay. Having flaws just makes you a human being. It doesn't make you a horrible person. Well, I guess it depends on the flaw, but generally speaking, just because you're not perfect, nobody's perfect. Jesus Christ was the only perfect person to ever walk the face of this earth, and ain't none of us ever gonna come close to that. But you have a lot of good qualities. Instead of dwelling on the negative things about yourself, focus on the good qualities. And you know what? It's hard. It's hard to change. It's hard to change those things that we don't like so much about ourselves. So instead of doing that, why don't you try putting like just 10 minutes in a day into working on a quality about yourself that you really like? Think where you could be if you just 10 minutes of focusing on what you like about yourself instead of what you don't like. Number four thing to remember when you don't think you're enough. Which, side note, not enough for who? Who in the hell are you trying to be enough? And this is also to me. I struggle with this a lot. But not enough to who? Whose measuring stick are we using to judge ourselves so harshly? You should really truly consider that question. But anyway, give yourself grace. Give yourself grace, especially when you don't think you deserve it. That's when you need it the most. Now, I know when you're really stressed out and you're full of anxiety, this can be hard. But you know what? You've got people out there who care about you. You need to let them. I fall short on this. I know for a fact I could pick up the phone and call a fairly significant number, if I'm honest. I could call a lot of people. Hey, I'm struggling. I need some help. And I would have people help me. I know that. And you know what? I'd damn near rather eat glass. But you know what? That's not fair to them. I need to allow the people who love me to support me. I need to allow them to uplift me because you know what? I would want them to call me. If they were feeling that way, I would absolutely want my friends and my loved ones to reach out to me. So, yeah, give yourself a little grace and give the people around you a little grace. Let people love you. Number 5, you need to accept who you are here and now. That doesn't mean that you don't think you have room for growth. I hope you always feel that you have room for growth. But you have to make peace with who you are now if you want to improve. You can't grow, you can't build from a negative foundation. So if you want to get your shit together and you want to start doing something with yourself, you've got to be positive and you've got to accept, okay, here's where I'm at. Even with my health issues, a lot of this is out of my control. However, a lot of things I can control. I am where I am because of the choices I have made in my life. That's just a fact. That also means the good things that I have in my life, guess what? Those are also a result of the choices that I've made. But you have to accept where you are right now, because when you accept that, you're accepting responsibility. Okay, this is where I'm at and it sucks and I don't want to be here, but I am here because of the choices and the decisions that I've made. Until you can face the problem honestly, you can't fix it. Look, I don't make the rules. It's just what it is. Number 6, when you feel like you're not enough, you need to take a moment and reflect on how far you've come. Stop worrying so much about how far you still have to go. Look back at where you were. Look at my health. Well, okay, you guys can't really look at it. You haven't been here, but at one point, I was so unhealthy, I could barely do 10 minutes on a Wii Fit. That is insane. I went on to teach cardio kickboxing pretty freaking successfully for somebody with a crap ton of health issues. In fact, when they finally found I'm not going to get started on the medical community, but when they finally figured out that, oh shit, she's right, she does have a ton of hormone problems. I know. The first thing they told me was, you have to give up cardio kickboxing. And I said, you don't understand. I can't do that. That's how I ended up dancing. Anyway, that was, it would be easy for me. My point was, it would be really freaking easy for me to sit here and go, man, I still can't do a pull up. I've been into fitness for a long time. I still can't do a pull up. I'm still overweight. I'm still this. I'm still that. I can't do this. I can't do that. But you know what? I can look back and say, holy crap, I could barely do 10 minutes a day on a Wii Fit. I dance 6, 7 days a week. I know you should take a rest day, but I absolutely love to dance. And I am so blessed with the coolest dance instructor. She's in Australia. I'm in Alaska. But I've been part of her Patreon for many years now. And we have I think, a pretty good relationship. And uh, that's someone that I give myself grace and I let her lift me up. But I'm getting sidetracked again. Oh, focus on how far you've come. When I first started dancing, I tried some of her videos. I didn't like them because I just wasn't there yet, And now I'm doing fairly complicated. I mean, considering I've never had a live lesson in my entire life, it's all been on my own in my living room. I think I'm getting pretty damn good. And I'm starting to learn some more advanced routines, and it's cool as hell. And instead of in the mornings, like today, I'll be honest, there was a little bit of shit. I wish I felt better. I'd really like to do this today. But you know what? I got up, I pulled up our Patreon, I found a choreography that she actually wrote with me in mind, created, whatever. She had me in mind. She's aware of my health situation. She had me in mind. It's this beautiful, elegant, slow, meditative, flowing choreography, and it feels so good for my body. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter how far I have to go. I've come so far from the girl who could barely do 10 minutes on a Wii Fit. I'm proud of that. And I need to remember that. Finally, number 7. Thing you need to remember when you feel like you're not enough. Self-criticism, it doesn't work. It's not going to build you to success. You cannot hate yourself into loving yourself. I mean, obviously. Now, and I say this as somebody with an intensely, people who know me are going, yeah, I have a very harsh inner critic. But I'm learning to tell her to shut the hell up. I'm learning I can counter the irrational, because most of that crap that you think of when that starts, it's so irrational. That self-criticism is, it's wildly biased, it's wildly exaggerated. And you would never sit there and let your best friend put themselves down the way that you'd put yourself down internally. Stop that shit. Counter those irrational arguments within yourself the same way you would counter them if your friend were telling you these things about him or herself. It's really that simple. You've got to take control if you want to fix this. And I'm definitely talking to myself. You guys, what really sucks? I had a fairly good lid on a lot of this. And then things got out of control and I let it all go. I mean, I didn't slide back as far as I used to be, thankfully. But yeah, I've got to pick up and start over again. I'm going to have to bootstrap it up. But you know what? At least now I know I need to be kind to myself. Now I know I can't compare myself to other people. It's not fair. It's not fair to me and it's not fair to them, because you know what? You're dismissing all of their trials and their struggles when you do that to somebody. I need to remember that my inner voice lies. I need to remember I do a hell of a lot more right than I do wrong. I need to give myself some grace. I think I'm pretty good at accepting who I am right here and right now. But I need to be better at accepting responsibility for that instead of just, oh, well, this is where I'm at, and kind of dismissing it. This is where I'm at. How am I going to move forward? I need to focus on how far I've come, because holy crap, have I come a long way. And no, self-criticism is not going to lead me to success. You cannot possibly hate yourself into a place where you're going to suddenly love yourself. Anyway, that is all I have for today. I hope y'all have a great afternoon. Happy Friday before Christmas. I will be back at 11 o'clock tomorrow. I hope you all take care. And if you go out, please don't be stupid. Don't drink and drive. There's plenty of organizations out there that'll help you get home